Yo, what's good? Wednesday, college basketball. Pretty good slate. Pretty good games today. At least like 4 or 5 stuck out. We're going to talk about those. We're going to talk about every game. If you guys are new to my channel, definitely hit that subscribe button, drop a like on today's video. I go over every single game in college basketball every single day here on the channel. Yeah, you can find my TikTok. That link is in the description. I also post on TikTok on a daily basis. We've hit 2 consecutive free plays over there. Speaking of free plays, came up short. And look, the whiteboard is just kind of like a fun thing to do. I know some people like visuals, so to my best of my ability, I try to give out an official winning free pick every day here on the channel. But I go over every game and I say what I like, and I think you guys can kind of get a rough idea of what games stick out a little bit more to me. So don't go crazy, don't go nuclear on our whiteboard official free pick. If you guys want my best stuff, become a member here on the channel. Don't worry about beating the middle of the month. I know some people are a little bit hesitant because they're like, well, if it's a monthly subscription, I don't want to join on the 21st. That's not how YouTube bills. Their billing cycle is an entire month, regardless of what day you join. So if you join right now, to basically get you all the way to the start of the March Madness tournament. So I got 4 plays posted today for members. Really like them. I expect a 4-0 day. I really do. We'll go over that tomorrow. Hopefully end up 4-0. Let's go over real quick what happened tonight for members. Give you guys a little transparency. The last 2 days, a 6-4 record, but we're even. We're not down. We're not up. We're even. A 6-4 record. We lost the larger plays. So yesterday we had 3 plays. We had Virginia Tech, Kansas State, and Houston. Houston decided to foul Iowa State, even though they're up 10 with 20 seconds left. And we missed by half a point there, so that fucked up yesterday. We had some parlays that involved Virginia Tech and Houston that carried over to today. One in particular was Houston, Villanova, and Michigan State. Yes, Michigan State, double-digit home favorite against an Iowa team that just won in overtime. Coming off an overtime win, and they beat Michigan State outright. It gets worse. I was so confident. The fact that Houston got the job done, the fact that Michigan State is at home playing good basketball, favored 10.5. I figured the only way this parlay could possibly lose if Villanova was going to get upset as a 6-point favorite from Butler. So we also threw a single play on Butler grabbing the points, hoping to hit a middle. We're hoping for Butler to cover the spread, Villanova to win, and we cashed both of them straight Jeff Bezos style. Came up short. Nova ended up killing Butler, and Michigan State ended up being upset. So that's where we lost most of our money. We also had a big parlay out that was a plus 800 parlay. Virginia Tech, Houston, Villanova, Wake Forest, BYU, and then get ready for the last 2. Michigan State and Texas A&M. The 2 biggest odds in the entire parlay, 2 teams at home, favored double-digit spreads, lose outright and cost us a parlay that was 1 unit risk to win 8 units. So if Michigan State and Texas A&M had simply gotten the job done today, it would be a massive 2-day stretch. I'm $100 better, sometimes $250, but right now my unit is $100. Be over $1,000 in 2 days if just those 2 big favorites came through on the money line. They were like minus 700 or something to minus 900 to win the game, whatever. So 6-4 record, even money through 2 days. We move on. We cash with West Virginia. We cash with Utah State. We cash with Creighton. We cash with BYU. So we're cashing a lot of picks, but those couple parlays, we are going for some home runs. I don't typically do it. Most of my bets, an overwhelming majority of them, are just straight bets, spread, same amount wagered, and you just simply rely on a winning record to stack that money long term, and that's the right way to go. But every once in a while, the games look right, and you have to you gotta have a little fun here and there. That's why they call it gambling. Are we gonna lose a couple times? Are we gonna wipe out a little bit of profit here and there? Sure, but I hit these all the time. And you know what? I'm going to give out a parlay in today's video that is plus 824. So maybe worth a little bit of your money. We're going to try to hit another home run. Not an official pick for members, but we'll have a little bit of fun with it. I'm going to give out that parlay and put it up on the whiteboard. And that'll be our official free pick for today's video. A plus 824 money line parlay that I truly think is going to hit. So let's get into these games here. I was going to talk a little bit about these games. There's a couple things I do want to bring up very, very quick. Now, if you have a notepad, your note section on your phone, get out something. I'm going to give you guys a couple of pretty good things here to look at. So I gave out Creighton, right? Gave out Creighton, told you guys in the last video that Creighton would win outright, but take the points just to be safe. Well, guess what? Now UConn. Pay attention to UConn, because I don't want to say it was like a scheduled loss type of a thing, but it's so hard in college basketball to string all these games in a row, like just weeks and weeks and weeks, even months of wins. You're going to get upset at some point. I think this could not have come at a better time, and it's a great loss. It was an away game versus a good ranked team in Creighton. I think UConn now, with that loss out of the way, now it's time to get back on UConn. I think they're going to be a covering machine down the stretch. So look for UConn in their next game. There's a couple more that I wanted to talk about too. Why am I tripping here? Damn, I'm sorry, guys. I think I grabbed the wrong paper. There was two other games that I think are really, really important to look at moving forward. Two teams. What are we looking at here? Oh, Michigan State. Where are we at? So Michigan State's next game, write this down. So they got upset at home by Iowa, completely embarrassed. Well, guess what? Their very next game is still at home, and it's against Ohio State, who's coming off the big Purdue upset. So we have Michigan State off of a loss, Ohio State off of a monster win, and Ohio State with a change in coaching staff. Now, every time you fire a coach, there's always a little bump, like an initial surge from players rallying around the new coach. But after that big Purdue win, they're going to be brought right back down to earth. I love the spot for Michigan State in the next game, something you guys should look forward to. And one other one, I believe, is Texas A&M as well. Texas A&M's next game is... Nope, that wasn't it. Their next game is... Oh, yeah, it is. Tennessee. So Texas A&M is absolutely cooked, and now their next game is at Tennessee. Do you remember how badly Texas A&M beat down Tennessee at home? So this is a revenge spot for Tennessee, and they're getting A&M, who's just all out of sorts, completely lost all composure. So I think two games you guys should really kind of write down and circle for the future. I think both of those are Saturday games. Maybe one is Sunday, the Michigan State game. Michigan State and Tennessee. I don't know what the line's going to be yet, but as long as it's reasonable, I do believe both of those teams cover. So something to look forward to. Let's go ahead and get into Wednesday. Got a fair amount of games to get through here. What are we starting with? What do we got here? Come on, load. What do we got? College basketball, the first game of the day. Illinois, Penn State, 7.5-point spread. And this spread feels very accurate. I think it's super accurate. I do think Illinois wins the game. I don't think this is an upset. Illinois just has too much talent. Even if Penn State gets off to a good start, even if they got the hot hand, they're shooting well, I can't see them getting the win here. I cannot see an upset in this spot. But what I can see is a line that looks so accurate. Man, I really feel like it's going to be 6, 7, 8, 9 points. Penn State, they're actually going to play in a different facility. It's on campus. It's a smaller facility. It's going to be kind of a different style, crazy environment. I think that helps Penn State. Penn State off a loss. But Illinois has been rolling here. This one's super, super tricky. The early sharp money is on Illinois, and I do believe it bumped the spread from 6.5 to 7.5. If it gets to an 8.5, I think Penn State's worth a look. Florida at Bama, this is such a similar game. What are we doing? 8.5, man. This is right there. If I can get a 9.5 tomorrow, if enough Bama money comes in tomorrow throughout the afternoon, if I can get 9.5, I am going to bet Florida. I'm going to just tell you straight up. It's not a members play. I didn't post it. So I don't feel bad about telling you guys exactly what I'm doing here. If I can get 9.5 or even a 10 with Florida, I'm going to take the points. At 8.5, I'm going to pass because I do think Florida is going to hang around. I think they'll be competitive. I think this is going to be a very good competitive basketball game. I just want a couple more points. I just want a couple more to feel better about risking my money. Notre Dame, Louisville, what a absolute garbage ACC game here. Give me Louisville on the money line at minus 120. Next game, Clemson, Georgia Tech. Another very interesting one. So I did watch the Georgia Tech at Clemson game. It was a double overtime, maybe even triple. It was at least a double overtime game. I watched every minute of it. Clemson dominated the whole game, gave away the game at the complete end. I think they chose not to foul with like 5 seconds left, even though they were up 3. It was like the worst ending ever. Goes to overtime. I think they had a couple guys foul out. One individual player, I can't remember his name right now, but one motherfucker for Georgia Tech went nuclear and brought them to victory. Georgia Tech is off of a win, a big win over Syracuse, I believe. Clemson is off of a loss. So Clemson off a loss, Georgia Tech off a win, a revenge game. I know it's a road environment, and that's like the only thing here, kind of making me a little bit nervous, but nah, I got to go Clemson here. 6.5, I think it's reasonable. Even if this margin is like 3 or 4, maybe 2, 3, 4. I mean, if it's a tight game the whole way, Clemson is going to know what they did last time. I think they're a better team. I think they have better fundamentals. I think they're going to take away the guy that beat them the first time. Couple fouls at the end. Georgia Tech's going to have to try to get back in the game by fouling. That should push us over that 6.5 mark. I like Clemson minus the 6.5. If it gets any higher than that, I don't love it because it is a road team versus a team that has already beaten them. Georgia Tech's playing okay ball. I mean, they beat North Carolina. They beat Duke. They have good wins. Georgia Tech, there's some talent over there. So anything past 6.5, it's not worth risking your money. But at 6.5, yeah, I recommend taking a small shot on Clemson. Oklahoma State, Cincy. What do we do here? Because Oklahoma State is feeling all good about themselves. They come off that big home upset win over BYU. They beat the crap out of them. Cincinnati went down to Central Florida, got a win. Shocking. I thought they were going to lose that for sure. That was a revenge game for UCF. But Cincinnati is not a team you can lay 10.5 with. It's just not. I'm not laying 10.5 with Cincinnati. They play good defense, but their offense struggles. Oklahoma State's been playing a little bit better. This is a Cincinnati win. Is it by 11 or more? I don't think so. I'm going to lean taking the points with Oklahoma State. But at the same time, Oklahoma State is the worst team in the conference. They suck, and they're even worse on the road. So overall, I'm just not going to bet that one. Dayton, George Mason's interesting. The public's all over Dayton, okay? The spread's 2.5. This is one where you just let the line determine what you're going to do. Let this marinate. 7 o'clock Eastern game, okay? Let the money continue to come in on Dayton. If this spread is still 2.5 tomorrow, or maybe it miraculously drops to 1.5, you got to be on George Mason here at home. Probably a money line upset play. But if the money comes in and this line moves a lot tomorrow, if this gets up to like a 4.5, 3.5, 4.5, that makes the Dayton play look a lot stronger. I'm not betting this one. I bet Dayton a couple times. I did bet Richmond against Dayton in one spot as well. Overall, just got to pass on this one. I'm going to let the market kind of develop here. If it moves to a 3.5, 4.5, I might be interested in Dayton money line. Find one other thing to pair it with. If it drops to 1.5, I'm on George Mason. What else we got here? Navy, Loyola, Maryland, no interest. Charleston State, USC Upstate, no interest. Duke, Miami. Here's an interesting game. Miami's absolutely pitiful, but they get up for the big games. A lot of these bad losses for Miami are road environments. At home, Duke in town. I think this is an upset. 5.5 points. I mean, you don't want to get greedy. Take the 5.5 with Miami. But I think this is probably an upset. Duke on the road trip here. Miami at home, an underachieving Miami team. The talent's there. I mean, Miami could completely shit the bed here too. This could be a Duke blowout. I'm going to say Miami gets up for this game. I think they win the game outright. I recommend taking the 5.5 points. Maybe just put a portion of your wager on Miami on the money line. Providence Xavier spreads 4.5. I think that's super accurate. I think that's right where the line needs to be. I'm still leaning Xavier in this spot. Providence better as of late. Not as good on the road. Definitely not as good on the road. Xavier off a loss. Give me Xavier minus 4.5. Don't love it. I think the spread is super accurate, but I do think the home team in this spot, situational basketball as well. I mean, look at the home and away splits for Providence. Xavier's more desperate here. They got to get back into the win column. They got to get right. This is the spot to do it against the Xavier team. They can get right here. 4.5. That's a great number. Providence is good. They got some talent. If it was, at Providence, I'd feel way different about this game. It'd probably be closer to a 2-point favorite for Providence. I think it's 4.5 for a reason here. Give me Xavier to cover the number. What else we got here? Charlotte and Memphis. I mean, I don't want to go against Memphis in this particular spot. I've gone against them before, twice, I believe, and it's paid out each time. Here, I'm definitely not laying 5.5 with this Memphis team, but I don't want to go against them in this spot. I bet Memphis covers that. Belmont Drake. Again, absolutely no opinion. 9.5 is that's like a pretty steep price. 9.5, like 9.5, that's a lot of points, but Drake, substantially better team. So what do? You move on, you find better stuff. Nebraska, Indiana. So here's my opinion on this game. Nebraska, Indiana. Nebraska is wildly better. I mean, fucking miles better. Okay, Nebraska's cooked. I'm sorry, Indiana's cooked. Sticking a fork in them. Indiana is done. I bet on them at home versus, I can't remember. Man, who was that against? Penn State, maybe? I can't remember. Indiana, better at home. Nebraska, way better at home. Drastically better at home. But this is a game where I think Nebraska gets the road win that they need to try to build this resume. Nebraska actually has a legitimate shot to make it to the tournament. Indiana doesn't. Indiana's absolutely horrible. The line is scaring me, though. A 1.5-point spread, but it's the same thing. It's the same thing. It was the same thing last time. They were a favorite last time of like 2 points in a situation where they had no right being the favorite, and they just got flattened. They were just not in the game. They had no chance. A little bit of fight at the end, but the game was already over by then. Now you get a good, talented Nebraska team. I know Nebraska's way better at home. I don't care. There's no way Indiana will ever see another dollar of mine. Strong lean to Nebraska in this spot. I feel like it's the one time where you finally say, okay, fuck Indiana. They're cooked. I'm betting against them the rest of the season. And then they win this game. They have like one more win in them, and it's this fucking game. So I'm going to pass for that reason. We'll see what the line does. If this line gets up to 2 or 3, Nebraska's going to win. Right now, the money is 56. I mean, the sharp money is on Indiana, to be honest. The early sharp money is on Indiana. The line suggests Indiana, but they suck. They're broken. Their offense is pitiful. Give me Nebraska. I just got to turn a blind eye to the other metrics in this game. I'll take the better team. Georgia Vanderbilt. I mean, Georgia Vanderbilt. Pick your poison. I mean, what do you do? I think you go with Vandy at home. I think you have to go with Vanderbilt here. Money line plus 102, Vanderbilt over Georgia. Ole Miss, Miss State. Interesting game. 7.5 looks like a ton of points. I feel like that's kind of a trap. Taking 7.5 with Ole Miss over Mississippi State for sure initially feels like the right move. They're just not going in the right direction here. Give me Mississippi State at home minus the number. Kentucky LSU. I think I went over this game after, I don't think it was Sunday. I think it was Saturday, right? The Kentucky upset over Auburn. I don't know if I posted on TikTok or what, but I remember saying it somewhere publicly that I'd be going against Kentucky in the very next game. Well, here we are at LSU. Give me LSU. Give me LSU getting 6.5 points. I think they could win. I think they could win outright. Kentucky couldn't fucking miss, man. It was one of those games where couple of their Dillingham and Reeves, they were throwing up circus shots. Auburn had good wide open looks from 3 all game, and they just wouldn't fall. It was just rim every time, brick after brick. They just couldn't buy a shot. There was some foul trouble, the frustration. It was just Kentucky's day. The stars aligned for Kentucky. They beat Auburn, big upset. They suck after big wins. Kentucky's not a good team. I don't believe that their defense can just snap their fingers and start playing like this out of thin air. I think they regress back to the Kentucky team that they were. Good offense, trash defense. It's going to be close. Maybe they somehow do escape with a win. It's not going to be by more than 7. Give me LSU in the points. By the way, the public's all over Kentucky. You can be patient here. See if the money bumps up the spread another point. See if you can get LSU at 7.5 instead of 6.5. But 6.5 is cool with me. I'm taking it. I like LSU in this spot. DePaul Marquette, 25.5 point spread. For everybody else's well-being, I'm going to skip this game. No opinion. Don't bet it. Move on. Don't even be interested in taking either side of this game. Colorado, New Mexico. New Mexico off a beatdown. Colorado State way better at home. This whole conference is way better at home. Utah State got the win over San Diego State tonight. One of our premium plays. I'm going back to the home team here. Give me New Mexico, 5.5. It's a reasonable number. Colorado State, ranked team on the road versus a non-ranked team, and they're a 5.5 point underdog. I think that speaks volumes. New Mexico way better at home at the pit. Give me New Mexico minus 5.5. I like that play. That's pretty solid. Early sharp money is on New Mexico as well. And that's it, guys. That's Wednesday. So there's some good ones in there. There's 6 or 7 like really solid games in the mix. And you know what? I was going to bet all 6 or 7, whittled it down to 4. Those are posted for members. If you guys want those 4 plays, my best 4 from that entire slate, become a member right now. You guys will be happy that you did. Let's get to this parlay here. Plus 824. Let me bring it up on my phone. I'll actually just put the bet slip. I will put it on the whiteboard just for whatever. But yeah, I bet this one personally. I put a unit on it. I put 100 on this one for a payout of $924, so almost 1,000. I like it. Illinois, like I said, Penn State might be competitive. I just don't see this being an upset. That might be the riskiest thing of this entire parlay. Alabama at home over Florida. Bam at home is just strong, man. I watched the Auburn game at home, some of these others. Florida might fight, but Florida's already like kind of overachieved on the road a little bit. They had that big win over Kentucky, even when Kentucky was, on a losing streak. So I don't think they can pull off another miraculous road upset. Give me Bam on the money line. Give me Clemson on the money line in a revenge spot over a team that beat them at their own place. Clemson off a loss, Georgia Tech off a win. Perfect spot for Clemson. Cincy over Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State had their big, woohoo, we beat BYU, who was looking ahead to Baylor, caught BYU on the road. They're going to get brought right back down to earth. I don't know if Cincy's going to cover the spread like we talked about. But Cincy's winning this game. Cincy's a bubble team. They have to have this if they're going to make the tournament. Cincy's not going to let this slip away. They are not losing to the worst team in the conference in a must-win spot. Miami plus 5.5. I was tempted to throw Miami money line in this parlay as I think it is an upset. That's just a bit greedy. Take the 5.5 with Miami. And then Nebraska. Nebraska, man. Nebraska on the money line. Indiana absolutely sucks. The line scares me. The early sharp money on Indiana scares me. If Indiana just flips the switch and plays like they're capable, they're probably going to beat Nebraska. Nebraska is way better at home, not as good on the road. But I've seen them time and time again in a spot where I finally think they're going to get right, and they just don't. They're just absolutely miserable. Their offense is horrible. Give me Nebraska. Nebraska needs to continue to build their resume for the tournament. More desperate team, more to play for, better talent. Give me Nebraska. $100 for a $924 payout. So I'll update the whiteboard after the video. I'm not going to take up too much of your guys' time. This is already almost a 24-minute video. But appreciate you guys swinging back by to the channel. Make sure you do drop a like on today's video before you exit out. And I do have some people leave comments on my videos asking how they can sign up. It's just the join button right on my YouTube home screen. Use desktop though. Don't use your mobile device. Use a computer. There is one way to do it on your phone, and I do have a video that's on my channel. If you just click on my videos, I have a how to join the YouTube membership video. It's a quick 2-minute walkthrough tutorial. So hopefully that'll help you out if you have to use your phone. Maybe you don't have access to a computer. And that video is also pinned on my home screen. So you guys can check all that stuff out. I think that's pretty much it. Hopefully everybody has a good Wednesday. I think we're in line for a pretty good Wednesday. I like these picks. I like the slate. I think there's some good spots out there. I'll see you guys in the next video.